friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie. In this video, I'll be participating in an Easter DIY challenge, and it's hosted by Heidi Sonboul DIY, and a little bit more about that later. So let's get into it. First DIY, I'm taking 6 of these little wooden houses from the Dollar Tree, and these were an online order, and look how they came. Oh my goodness. So all this twine is coming off, and I'm using my scraper to remove any excess glue. And now I'm gonna go in with some sandpaper, 100 grit, and smoothen up any other pieces that are sticking up. And I'm going in with some Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and I'm going to paint the dark houses white, and I'm going to paint them completely white, and I'm going to give them a good coverage. So all of it white except for the roof part. I won't be painting the roof part, but I paint the whole thing and the back side as well. And now I'm taking the lighter houses, and I'm going to paint those with the Waverly Antique Wax. And I know what you're thinking. Why is she painting the dark ones white and then the light ones dark? Well, stick with me. There's a method to my madness. Okay, so here they are. And now I'm going to go in with a wet paper towel and just remove the excess wax, so it'll be a lighter color. And so I do that to all 3 houses, and I do the back side as well, front side and back side. And I'm going to leave the middle part the way it is. And now I'm going to go in with some white and paint the little squares white with the same Waverly chalk paint. And I do that to all 3 houses. And now I'm going to take my brush that had the antique wax, and I'm going to lightly brush on some of the antique wax. And it's not really a dry brush, it's just more of a light coating. And I'm just going to do a little bit here and there just to help accentuate the lines and to stress it a little bit, especially the top and the sides. I really want it to be noticeable. So I'm just going to go in and do that to all 3 houses. And now I'm going to go in with the same white brush that I was using with the white paint and help blend some of the harsher lines. I don't want it to be too harsh on the surfaces. So I'm just going to go in with the white paintbrush, whatever was left on there. And so now that I'm done with those, I'm going to work on the darker houses. And I'm going to go in with that same paintbrush. And again, I'm not really dipping it into the paint. It's just whatever's left on the brush. I'm going to now distress these little houses a little bit, and the same method, a little bit on the top and mostly on the sides, on the lines, to help accentuate them and define them. So I do that to all 3 houses and get it to where I like it. And now I'm going to allow that to dry. I'll set it aside and let it dry, and I'll come back to it. Okay, so now I'm taking these 6 butterflies that I had painted white for another project but I didn't use, and I'm going to go in with all 6 of these colors, but they're a little bit too bright for what I'm wanting, so I'm going to mix them all individually with a little bit of the white chalk paint. And so I'm going to lightly just dry brush on the sides, on the perimeter of each of these butterflies. So I'll do 1 yellow, 1 orange, 1 pink, 1 purple, 1 blue, and 1 green. And so I'll just dry brush these until I get them done. And again, I mix them all with a little bit of the white paint. And then I don't even clean out the brush, and I don't even clean out the little dish. I just go with it. Okay, so a little bit more about this challenge. So this is the Heidi Sonboul Easter DIY challenge, and we are to create 1 or more DIYs with the Easter theme. And so I'm doing 3 different DIYs, and I'm trying to speed it all up so this video won't be an hour long because believe me, when I got done filming it all, it was like an hour and a half long, and I thought, no, that's not gonna fly. So everything is sped up a little bit, and I'm trying to be a little bit efficient with the footage and the clips. And so, but I really wanted to show this dry brushing of the butterflies because it's so cute. So anyway, when you're done viewing this video, please go to the playlist and watch what the other participants have created for this Easter DIY challenge, and it'll be in my description box below. And just in case there's a problem with the playlist in my description box, I'll also pin it in my comments, because I've noticed that when you pin it in the comments, that link works a little bit better than what's in the description box. So we will try that and make sure that you can all view the rest of the playlist, because there's going to be some excellent inspiration there. Okay, so now I'm taking this board that I had painted white for another DIY and I didn't use it. So now I'm going to use it for this. And so I'm going to assemble all my little houses, and I'm going to alternate white with dark, with white, with dark. And this particular DIY is going to be 2-sided. So one side is going to be representing spring, and the other side is going to represent Easter. So this particular side is going to represent Easter. So what I'm going to do now is take some of the Aleene's tacky glue, and I'm going to attach 2 of the tumbling tower blocks on each of the dark houses. So I'll use some of the Aleene's tacky glue and some hot glue as well, and I'll place 2 on each of the dark houses. And so I do this to all 3, and just like this. And so now I'm ready to glue them to my board. My board is going to be my base. So I'm going to start with the middle one, so I know that it's going to be centered. And I'm going to go in with the Aleene's tacky glue and the hot glue, and I'll set it on there. And now I can proceed with the remaining little houses. And that way I know for sure that they're all going to be even and they're all going to fit. So now I'm going to attach the little butterflies, and this is to the other side. This is to the back side. The front side is the side that has the squares and the circles from the little houses that I didn't remove, and the back side were clean and free, so I put the butterflies on there. And now I'm going to get messy and glue some of this floral moss onto the roofs of each of the little houses. And so this is going to be fun, because you know floral moss is fun. And it's going to look like a hot mess before it looks better. I will tell you that right now. And that's why I didn't paint the very tops of the little houses, because you're not going to see them anyway, not with all this floral moss. So I just go ahead and get them all covered up with the moss, and then I'll also do the bottom edge to the house, and I'll do this to both sides. So look at this. This is looking a little bit scary here, but I'm telling you, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's just how it goes with floral moss. So here I'm going to quickly add the floral moss on the bottom of the other side. This is the Easter side. As you can see, the little squares and circles on the houses. And so I'll add all this moss on here. And now it's time for a little trim. So I take my little detailed scissors from the Dollar Tree, and I'll just trim everything up. I'll take my time and get it close to the house and get it all nice and trim, looking cute. And voila, it's pretty. So now I'm going to just shake all of the excess floral moss off, because you know it's going to come off. So I make sure it's all off. Shake it all off on both sides, and then clean up my little area. with my little ladybug. And so now I'm ready to add my stickers to my little houses. So I have these little stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're the Sticko. And I'm going to quickly take the letters that I need, and I'm going to adhere them to each of the little circles and squares on these houses. So I'll spell out the word Easter. And the R is out of frame, but I promise you it's on there. So now I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to now spell out the word spring for the back side. And I'll put these on the little butterflies. I just think butterflies are such a great representation of spring. To me, when I see the little butterflies, I know it's spring. So pretty. Okay, so now I want to embellish the houses on the spring side with these beautiful, colorful flowers, these wildflowers from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just loving these. They're such good quality to me. So I'm just going to take a few sprigs of each color, and I'm just going to snip off a little bit and just place them between all the houses. And like this. And so now I'm going to flip it over. And so for the back side, for the Easter side, I wanted to do a more of a neutral Easter. So I'm just going to use the white flowers, and I'll put those between all the houses. So to me, Easter is more of a spiritual event. And so I just chose to be a little bit more mindful of that and just have everything more neutral for Easter. So bright for spring, neutral for Easter. And that's just how I decided to do this DIY Easter spring decor. Okay, on to DIY number 2, and this one's much easier. I'm taking 4 of these round wooden pieces from the Dollar Tree. They're like an ornament. I think they're called ornament. And I'm taking some wood filler, and I'm going to fill in all the little holes and pressing down in there. And I'm going to make sure that all of the holes are covered on the back and the front. And I'm taking some 100 grit sandpaper and sanding off the excess wood filler and also any imperfections that these little wood rounds might have. Sometimes they have rough edges, so I'm going to make sure that they're all nice and smooth and get ready for painting. So once I get these done, I'm going to go in with some of the white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to paint them white. And I'm going to take some of the antique wax, and I'm just going to lightly brush on a little tiny bit. I'll dab most of it on my paper towel, and I'll just do a light coating, and I'll do this to all 4. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of these ceramic eggs from the Dollar Tree. I have 5, and I'm going to remove all the stickers and make sure there's nothing on there. And I'm going to take some of the white Waverly chalk paint and paint them all white. And I know you're thinking, what? Why are you painting them white? Believe me, there's a method to my madness. So now I'm going to take some of this antique wax, and I'm not going to paint the whole thing with this. I'm just going to take this kind of chippy brush here, and I'm going to just do a light little bit that's just on the top of the lid, and most of it stays on my paper towel. So what I'm trying to do is kind of accentuate like the embossed. There's like an embossed like little flowers that are on the top and the bottom of the initials, and I wanted just that to be like a little bit more noticeable. So that's why I add the antiquing wax, and I also wipe off the excess. And I do this to all 5 of my eggs until I get them like this. And so I think they're so cute like this. They're nice and neutral. I don't know, I kind of like the neutral look. Okay, so now I'm going to take my rounds and I'm going to start stacking these eggs. So I'm going to take some of this Dollar Tree it's kind of like a strong glue. It's kind of like E6000 glue, and some of the hot glue, and I'm going to set that on one of my little rounds as a base, and I'm going to add another egg, same manner, some of that strong glue from the Dollar Tree and some hot glue, and I'm going to stack that. So I'm going to have 2 eggs stacked, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other 3 eggs, and I'll do 2 eggs on one and 3 eggs on the other. And so I'll just do the same thing, a little bit of the strong glue. I think it's just called quick glue or something like that, and the hot glue. And so I'll do that, and then once that's on there, I will go in with the rounds, the other 2 remaining rounds, and I'll glue those on top of the eggs with the same glue. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and just place it on there and hold it until it kind of holds, and then I'll set it aside, and I'll do the same to the other one, and that's it. Now I just style it with some florals and some candles, and here they are. Super cute. Okay, on to DIY number 3. For DIY number 3, I'm taking one of these tinsel bunnies from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove all the tinsel. And it's a little bit of a challenge to get started, but once you get started, it all comes off pretty easily. And the only thing I save from this little bunny is a little bow tie, and I'll show you that later. So I'm going to go in with some of this jute twine from the Dollar Tree, and I end up using 4 of these rolls. Yes, 4 rolls. Oh my goodness. So once I got started and started looping around the head of the little bunny, I decided to go sit on the couch and go catch up on my show, my This Is Us TV show, and I got to watch 2 episodes. Yes, and look, then I got it all. He's all ready. He's looking cute, all twined up. So now I'm going to go in with some of this nautical rope from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use it to outline the head and the body of the little bunny, and that'll also help cover up those little prong things that are on the frame of the bunny, the plastic frame. And yeah, I probably could have cut them off, but if I did that, then my twine would probably go everywhere, because I use those little prong things to help anchor all the twine. So I'm just going to go around the top of the head, and I'm going to go down the side of the head and the side of the body and across the bunny's bottom and to the other side. And I actually do the same method to the other side as well. That way my little bunny is nice and finished. And now I'm just going to add his little bow tie, and I'm going to add it to the top to help hide that little hanger, which I probably could have cut, but again, I use that to help anchor my twine as well. Okay, so now here's my little bucket from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to kind of bend the little bunny rabbit to put it in there. And right underneath the rope, the nautical rope, I'll do a bead of glue and I'll set it in the bucket and I'll hold it in place. Careful not to touch the metal too much because it's hot. And I'm just loving the way this little bunny is fitting in the bucket. It's almost like he's too big, he's too chunky, but he just looks so cute. So now I'm taking this pom-pom that's actually left over from Christmas, from one of those Santa scarves. And now all I have left to do is add some wildflowers, add some carrots, and some Easter eggs, and I'm done. And here's my bunny. I'd like to thank Heidi Sonboul DIY for hosting this wonderful Easter DIY challenge. And don't forget to go to the description box and follow the link to the playlist. And until my next video, stay healthy, safe, and strong, and have a great, great day. Bye-bye.